My name is Maya. I had been a senior graphic designer at Verve Media for 3 years. On paper, it was a dream job, corner office with a view of the city skyline, creative freedom, a solid 401k match. In reality, those 3 years were a masterclass in psychological erosion, taught by my boss, Julian Croft. Julian wasn't the screaming type of toxic. He was worse. He was the silent, surgical kind. He'd praise your work in a team meeting, then call you into a one-on-one to say it was sloppy and lazy. He'd approve your vacation, then text you at 11 p.m. about a minor emergency that required your laptop. He took credit for every success and blamed every failure on the person who'd stayed until 9 p.m. fixing it. But I endured. I had rent. I had student loans. I had a sick cat. Excuses, all of them. The truth was simpler. I was afraid. Julian had a habit of blacklisting people in the industry. 2 former co-workers had left town entirely. Then came Tuesday. The Ethel account. A luxury perfume brand. We'd been pitching for 6 months. I had single-handedly designed the entire campaign, the mood boards, the typography, the color palette that Julian had called pretentious garbage before sending it to the client under his own name. The client loved it. Loved him. To celebrate, Julian ordered champagne for the executive floor. Not for the design team. Just for him and his direct reports. I watched from my desk as the bottles popped. He caught my eye, raised his glass with a smirk, and mouthed, "Next time, Maya." That was the moment. Something cold and bright clicked into place in my chest. Not rage. Clarity. I went home that night and opened a new document. I titled it, Operation 24 Hours. Midnight. I sat in my tiny kitchen, surrounded by 3 years of digital and physical evidence. Julian was meticulous in his abuse, but sloppy in his secrecy. He used the company Slack to berate me. He sent off-the-record emails from his personal Gmail to my work address, calling my portfolio pedestrian and my work ethic embarrassing. He once wrote, "You're lucky I haven't fired you. No one else would hire you." I had kept every single one. I also had something else. 6 months ago, Julian had asked me to help him organize his personal Google Drive on the company laptop. He'd given me his password Julian 1984 because he was too lazy to change it after an IT reset. I never used it. Until now. I logged in at 12:17 a.m. What I found made my stomach turn, then steel itself. There was a folder labeled, Reviews Drafts. Inside, performance reviews for every employee on our team. For the 3 people who had quit under him, he'd written scathing, false assessments dated after their resignations, clearly designed to be forwarded to recruiters. For me, a review that said, Maya Chen is technically competent, but has a victim mentality. Not a team player. Would not rehire. He hadn't submitted it yet. It was dated next week. Then I found the spreadsheet. It was a tracker. Julian had been running a side freelance business using Verve's resources, our software licenses, our stock photo accounts, even our unpaid interns. He'd billed clients directly, invoiced them through a shell LLC, and used the company printer to mail the contracts. Total value over 2 years, nearly $400,000. I sat back. The revenge I had imagined, a snarky resignation letter, a public shaming on LinkedIn, felt like throwing a pebble at a battleship. Julian hadn't just been mean. He had been stupid. And I had the keys to his destruction. I didn't sleep. I spent the next 5 hours building a timeline. Every harassing message, every stolen credit, every illicit invoice. I cross-referenced timestamps with his calendar. I matched client names from his personal drive to our company CRM. By 5 a.m., I had a 47-page PDF. I called it Julian Croft, a pattern of misconduct and fraud. At 6 a.m., I showered. I put on my best blazer. I made coffee. I looked in the mirror and saw someone I hadn't seen in years, calm. I arrived at Verve at 7:30 a.m., a full hour before Julian. I walked past his office empty, his stupid framed photo of a mountain on the desk, and went straight to HR. Not the junior rep, the head of HR, a woman named Denise who had been at the company for 20 years. She was known for being fair, but also for protecting the company at all costs. I knocked. Denise? I need 15 minutes. And I need you to promise me you'll read this before you talk to anyone else. She looked at my eyes, then at the folder in my hand. She closed her door. She read for 10 minutes. Her face went from professional neutrality to something I'd never seen on her, disgust. Maya, she said quietly. Are you safe? I'm about to be, I said. Denise called legal. Legal called the CFO. By 9 a.m., there was a silent emergency meeting in the conference room down the hall. Julian arrived at 9:15, latte in hand, oblivious. He smiled at me on his way to his office. Morning, Maya. The Ethel deck needs revisions. By noon. Oh, and can you grab my dry cleaning? I smiled back. Of course, Julian. At 9:47 a.m., his office phone rang. I saw him pick it up. Saw his posture change. Saw the latte lower slowly to the desk. He stood up. Walked past my desk without looking at me. Walked into the conference room. The door closed. I put on my headphones. Not to listen to music, to record. I had my phone in my blazer pocket, audio memo on. Just in case. I couldn't hear much. But at 10:12 a.m., the door opened. Julian walked out, escorted by 2 men from corporate security. His face was pale. His tie was loose. He looked at me. For 1 second, his mask slipped. I didn't see anger. I saw fear. You, he whispered. I tilted my head. Good luck with your next role, Julian. They walked him out. The entire floor watched in stunned silence. Someone clapped. Someone else shushed them. I stayed at my desk and finished the lethal revisions. Because I was a professional. By 11 a.m., an all-staff email went out. Julian Croft is no longer with Verve Media. Details are confidential. Please direct any project questions to Maya Chen, effective immediately. My phone exploded. Texts from coworkers. What did you do? OMG. Are you okay? Drinks tonight. One text, from a number I didn't recognize. He did the same to me 2 years ago. Thank you. I mean it. I didn't respond to any of them. I had 13 hours left in my 24-hour timeline. And I wasn't done. At 2 p.m., I emailed the 47-page PDF anonymously, through a burner account to the 3 biggest clients Julian had stolen from. Ethel. Lux Cosmetics. Vanguard Fragrance. I included his Shell LLC name and the dates of every fraudulent invoice. At 4:30 p.m., the CFO called me into her office. She didn't ask if I sent it. She asked, "What do you want, Maya?" A severance package. 8 months. Full benefits. A neutral reference. And a letter stating I resigned voluntarily effective Friday. She didn't blink. Done? And the clients. I can fix that too. But I want the package in writing first. She had the letter on my desk by 5 p.m. I worked until 6 p.m. I fixed the client relationships not out of loyalty to Verve, but because the junior designers didn't deserve to lose their projects. I handed off my files. I cleaned my desk. I said goodbye to exactly 2 people, Sam from IT, who had always covered for my late logins, and Priya from accounting, who had once slipped me a $300 bonus when Julian tried to withhold it. At 6:58 p.m., 2 minutes before the end of my 24-hour window, I sent one final email. To Julian's personal address. The one he'd used to humiliate me. Subject, closure. Body, you were right about one thing. No one else would hire you after today. I checked. The blacklist was yours all along. Enjoy the mirror, Julian. I hit send. Closed my laptop. Walked out of Verve Media for the last time. The sun was setting. The city looked gold and new. My phone buzzed one last time. A LinkedIn message from a recruiter at a rival agency. Heard you're free. We've been trying to poach you for years. Lunch tomorrow. I smiled. Put my phone away. And for the first time in 3 years, I didn't check my email for the rest of the night. Epilogue, 1 year later. I run my own studio now. 3 employees. A waiting list of clients. Julian's LLC was dissolved last I checked. He moved to a different state. I heard he's selling used cars. People sometimes ask me if I regret it. The revenge. The 24 hours that burned his career to the ground. I tell them no. Not because he deserved it, although he did, but because that day wasn't really about him. It was about the version of myself I left behind in that office. The one who thought being kind meant being silent. The one who believed survival meant shrinking. Julian didn't teach me that. I taught myself. And on that Tuesday night in my kitchen, I unlearned it. Revenge, I learned, isn't about destruction. It's about remembering your own name when someone else has tried to erase it. And mine is Maya. And I am not for sale. The end.